Most men spend years chasing women who never truly feel it, but one man with just a single silent sign made her fall so deep she forgot every other guy existed. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a woman and felt something so deep, so real, that words just disappeared? Like your mouth wanted to speak, but your heart said no, not yet. That moment, that pause, that silence between two people, that is where real attraction is born. Not in fancy restaurants, not in expensive gifts, not in perfect words rehearsed in front of a mirror at 2 a.m. It's born in silence. And here's what nobody ever told you. Women, real women, emotionally intelligent women, they don't fall for what you say. They fall for what you make them feel. Think about every man she's ever met. The guy who texted her paragraphs at midnight. The guy who showed up with flowers on the second date. The guy who said all the right things in all the right order, and yet she felt nothing. You know why? Because he was performing and she could feel it. Women have this gift, this invisible radar that detects the difference between a man who is real and a man who is trying. And the moment she senses you're trying too hard, it's over. Not because she's cold, not because she's playing games, but because her heart is looking for something authentic, something certain, something that says, I don't need to prove myself to you because I already know my worth. And that's exactly where the sign comes in. Not a text message, not a line, not a move you practiced. Just one single silent signal. A signal so powerful, so deeply understood by every woman on this planet, that the moment she receives it, she stops. She breathes, and somewhere deep inside her chest, something wakes up. Something she hasn't felt in a long time. Maybe ever. I know what you're thinking right now. What is this sign? Is it real? Can it actually work on any woman? And the answer is yes. Not because it's magic, not because it's manipulation, but because it speaks directly to the part of her that logic never reaches. The emotional core, the feminine heart, the part of her that doesn't read words, it reads energy. Picture this. You're in a room, she's across from you, maybe it's a party, maybe it's a quiet cafe, maybe it's just an ordinary Tuesday that's about to become anything but ordinary. Your eyes meet, most men look away, nervous, unsure, afraid of what that eye contact might mean, but you don't look away. Not in an aggressive way, not in a creepy way, but in a way that says, I see you, I really see you, and I'm not afraid of what that means. And in that one moment she feels it. That warmth, that pull, that quiet electricity that travels from your eyes all the way into her soul. No words spoken, no lines delivered, just the sign, and here's the most beautiful part. She will never be able to explain it to her friends. They'll ask her, what did he say, what did he do? And she'll just smile and say, I don't know, I just felt it. That's the power you're about to unlock. That's what this video is going to teach you, because most men spend their whole lives chasing women, but the man who masters the sign, he never chases again. She comes to him, so stay with me, because what I'm about to show you in the next few minutes could completely change the way every woman in your life sees you. Forever. You know what's fascinating about the female brain. It never truly shuts off. Even when she's laughing with her friends, even when she's focused on work, even when she tells herself, I'm done with men for a while, her brain is still scanning. Quietly, constantly, automatically, looking for something, not a face, not a body, not a bank balance. Something far deeper than that. Scientists call it emotional safety, but I call it something simpler. She's looking for a man who feels like home. Not a perfect man, not a rich man, not a man with all the right answers, just a man who makes her nervous system relax. A man whose presence alone tells her, you're safe here, you can be yourself here, you don't have to perform here, and the moment she finds that feeling, every wall she built, every guard she put up, every I don't need anyone, she whispered to herself at night, crumbles. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Her brain has two parts constantly at war with each other. The logical mind that tells her to be careful, to protect herself, to not trust too fast, and the emotional heart that feels things before she can even think about them. And here's the secret most men never discover. You cannot win a woman's heart through her logical mind. You can't argue your way in. You can't convince her with facts. You can't show her a resume of why you're a good guy. Because logic builds respect, but emotion builds love. Think about the last time you watched a woman fall for someone unexpected. Maybe her friends didn't understand it. Maybe even she didn't understand it. She'd say things like, "He's not even my type. I don't know what it is about him." There's just something about the way she couldn't finish that sentence because what she was feeling had no words. It was happening below the surface, below thought, below reason. It was happening in the oldest, deepest part of her brain, the part that responds to energy. The part that responds to presence, the part that responds to the sign. Here's the psychology behind it. When a woman feels genuine, grounded, calm masculine energy directed toward her, her brain releases oxytocin, the bonding chemical, the trust chemical, the "I want to be close to this person" chemical. And here's what's wild, she doesn't choose this. It just happens. Her body responds before her mind even catches up. That flutter in her chest, that warmth she can't explain. That sudden awareness of everything you do, that's not coincidence. That's biology meeting emotion. That's the sign doing exactly what it's designed to do. But here's what breaks the whole thing. Most men panic at this exact moment. They feel the connection building. They sense she's starting to feel something. And instead of staying calm, staying grounded, staying present, they get excited. They start talking too much. They start trying to lock it in. And just like that, the oxytocin stops. The warmth fades, and she pulls back, not because she wanted to, but because something shifted. Something that felt certain suddenly felt needy. The man who understands this psychology never rushes. He understands that her emotions move like water. You don't grab water. You don't chase water. You simply create the space for it to flow toward you. And it will every single time, because her brain was never broken. Her heart was never closed. She was simply waiting for a man who understood the language she was speaking. A silent language, an ancient language, a language made not of words, but of presence, of stillness. Of the sign, and now you're starting to understand it too. By ya hand high, let me paint you a picture. Two men, same room, same woman. First man walks up to her, confident smile, good energy. She notices him immediately. Something about him just feels different. She turns slightly toward him. Her body language opens. Her eyes soften just a little. And inside her chest, without her permission, that feeling begins. That quiet, electric, something is happening here, feeling. Now watch what this man does next. He opens his mouth, and he doesn't stop. "Hey, I love your style. Seriously, where did you get that? I've been here like 20 minutes, and honestly, this party is kind of dead, but you just completely changed the vibe. I'm James, by the way. Have we met before? You look so familiar. Do you go to the gym around 5th? I feel like I've seen you there. Anyway, what do you do for work? I'm in finance, but I'm also building a startup on." Side, she's nodding, smiling politely, but inside, that feeling that was building just moments ago is quietly disappearing. Not because he said something wrong, not because he's a bad person, but because he just committed the single most killing mistake a man can make. He filled every silence with noise. And here's the brutal truth nobody tells men. Silence is not awkward. Silence is powerful. Silence is where she gets to feel you. Silence is where her imagination does the most beautiful work. Silence is where she leans in instead of leaning away. But the moment you fill that silence with unnecessary words, you take away her space to feel anything. You hand her a script instead of an experience, and she doesn't want a script. She wants to be moved now. Let's talk about the second man. Same room, same woman, same moment. He walks over, calm, unhurried, like he has all the time in the world. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time someone looked at you, really looked at you, and you felt it? Not just seen, not just noticed, but truly deeply felt, like their eyes weren't just looking at your face, they were looking at something inside you. Something you rarely show anyone. Something you didn't even know was visible. Remember that feeling. That warmth that spread through your chest without permission, that sudden awareness of your own heartbeat. That quiet voice inside you that whispered, "This person is different." And now imagine being the man who makes her feel that. Every single time. That is what we are talking about today. Not tricks, not techniques, not a checklist of things to memorize. We are talking about something far more powerful. We are talking about the complete, combined delivery of the sign through your eyes, through your body, through your energy, all three working together, all three speaking the same silent language, all three telling her something her heart has been waiting to hear for a very long time. Let's start with the eyes. Because everything begins there, every great love story in human history, every butterflies in the stomach, can't eat, can't sleep, who is, this person moment started with eye contact. Not a text, not a compliment, not a perfect opening line, two pairs of eyes meeting across a room, and something shifting forever. But here is what most men don't understand about eye contact. It is not about intensity. It is not about staring her down or holding her gaze like a competition. That is not attractive. That is uncomfortable. Real eye contact, the kind that creates genuine attraction, is about softness inside the strength. It is about looking at her and letting her feel that your eyes are safe, that behind this gaze there is no agenda. No performance, no desperate need to impress, just a man who sees her clearly and is completely comfortable with what he sees. Here is how it actually works in real life. You look at her, not for too long in the beginning, just long enough for her to notice, long enough for something to register. And then, and this is the part most men completely miss, you look away slowly. Not quickly, not nervously, not like you got caught, slowly, calmly, like a man who has all the time in the world. Like a man who looked because he wanted to, not because he needed her to look back, and she will look back. She always looks back, because that slow, unhurried look away does something fascinating to her brain. It creates curiosity. It creates that feeling of, wait, who is this man who looked at me like that and then just moved on? Most men look away fast because they're nervous, and she can feel that nervousness. It reads as insecurity, but you look away like someone who is simply living his life. Comfortable, present, whole, and that drives her quietly, beautifully crazy. Now let's talk about body language. Because your body is speaking even when your mouth is closed. Every single second you are in her presence, your posture is telling a story. Your shoulders are saying something. Your hands are saying something. The way you stand, the way you sit, the way you move through a room, all of it is communicating something to her. And she is reading every word. Here is the body language of a man who has mastered the sign. He takes up space, not aggressively, not arrogantly, but naturally. Comfortably, like a man who belongs wherever he stands. His shoulders are back, not stiff, not puffed up. Just open, relaxed, like he has nothing to hide and nothing to protect. His hands are still, not fidgeting, not checking his phone, not adjusting his clothes every 30 seconds, still, because stillness communicates control. And control, real, quiet, internal control, is one of the most attractive things a woman can sense in a man. His movements are slow. This is something almost nobody talks about, but it changes everything. Slow movements communicate that you are not anxious, that you are not rushing to get anywhere or prove anything. When you move slowly, reach for your drink slowly, turn your head slowly, stand up slowly, you communicate a kind of calm authority, a groundedness, I am exactly where I am supposed to be, energy, and she feels that. Her nervous system responds to it. Her body relaxes around yours because on some deep, instinctual level, calm feels like safety, and safety is where love grows. Now, let's talk about the thing that ties everything together, energy, because here is the truth about energy. You cannot fake it. You can fake confidence for a few minutes, you can fake interest for an evening, but energy, the real, lived in, emanating from your core kind of energy that is felt immediately. Before you speak, before you move, before she even fully sees your face, she feels your energy the moment you enter her awareness. And that energy either pulls her in or quietly, invisibly pushes her away. So what is the energy of a man who delivers the sign perfectly? It is not loud, it is not aggressive, it is not desperate for attention, it is warm, it is certain. It is deeply, quietly present. It is the energy of a man who woke up this morning comfortable in his own skin, who doesn't need this interaction to go a certain way, who finds her genuinely interesting, not because he needs her, but because he is a man who genuinely finds life interesting, who is curious, who is alive, who is real. And here is where all three come together, the eyes that look at her softly but steadily, the body that takes up space with quiet confidence, the energy that says, I am here, I am real, and I am not afraid of this moment. When all three align, something happens between two people that cannot be manufactured, cannot be scripted, cannot be replicated by any text message or romantic gesture in the world. She feels chosen, not because you told her she was special, but because every cell in your presence was focused on her and she felt it in her chest, felt it in the way time slowed down just slightly, felt it in the way she suddenly became aware of the distance between you and found herself wanting it to be smaller. That is the sign delivered in its full form, not one piece of it, not two, all three, together, at once. Eyes, body, energy, the complete language of attraction, spoken without a single word, understood without a single explanation. Because she was never waiting for the perfect thing you would say. She was waiting for the man who would make her feel that some things in this world don't need to be said at all. They just need to be felt. He doesn't open with a line. He doesn't compliment her outfit immediately. He doesn't rush to make her laugh or impress her or prove anything. He just arrives, and when he speaks, he says maybe 7 words. Slowly, clearly, with complete calm, and then he stops and looks at her, not nervously, not desperately, just present, like what she says next actually matters to him, like he's genuinely curious about her, like he has absolutely nowhere else in the world he'd rather be, and she feels it. Oh, she feels it. That stillness, that confidence, that rare, almost forgotten feeling of being truly seen, not looked at. Not assessed, not evaluated, seen, and something inside her, something she's been protecting for a very long time, opens. Just a little, just enough. Now I want you to really understand why this happens, because it's not random. It's not luck, it's not chemistry in the mysterious sense, it's psychology. When a man talks too much, especially in the early stages of attraction, he is subconsciously communicating several things to her, and none of them are good. The first thing he communicates is anxiety. Words are often armor. We talk to fill space because silence makes us uncomfortable. And when she senses that discomfort in you, her nervous system mirrors it. She becomes uncomfortable too. And discomfort is the exact opposite of attraction. The second thing he communicates is insecurity. When a man can't stop talking about himself, his job, his achievements, his plans, his past, what he's really saying is, please think I'm valuable, please be impressed, please don't leave. And she hears all of it, not the words, the energy beneath the words, and that energy, that quiet desperation dressed up as confidence, pushes her away every single time. The third thing he communicates is that he doesn't trust the connection. Real attraction doesn't need to be explained. Real chemistry doesn't need a sales pitch. When something genuine is happening between two people, the silence between them feels asterisk full, asterisk warm, alive, electric. But when a man keeps talking, he's essentially saying, I don't trust what's happening here. I need to control this. I need to make sure she doesn't lose interest. And the moment she feels that need to control, she pulls back, not consciously, but her heart knows. Her heart always knows. Now here's something I want you to sit with for a moment. Think about every great love story you've ever watched. Not the Bollywood version where the hero chases the girl for 3 hours. The real ones, the quiet ones. The ones that stay with you. What do you remember most? Not the speeches, not the grand gestures, not the perfectly timed words. You remember the looks, the moment across a crowded room, the pause before everything changed, the breath held just a little too long. That is where love actually lives, in the unspoken, in the almost said, in the space between two people who both feel it but haven't named it yet. And this is what the man who talks too much never gets to experience. He skips the most beautiful part. He rushes through the feeling, trying to arrive at something certain, not realizing that asterisk the uncertainty is the attraction. The not knowing, the wondering, the asterisk, does he feel this too? That tension, that gorgeous, unbearable, heart-racing tension, is what she lies awake thinking about at night. Not your words, your silence. So what do you do instead? You become comfortable with space. You stop treating silence like a problem to solve. You start treating it like a gift you're giving her, room to feel, room to wonder, room to want. You speak when you have something real to say. And when you don't, you simply be present, calm, grounded, like a man who has nothing to prove because he already knows exactly who he is. And here's what happens when you do that consistently. She starts to fill the silence. She starts asking you questions. She starts leaning in. She starts finding reasons to keep the conversation going because something in her doesn't want this feeling to end. And that feeling, that is attraction in its purest form, not manufactured, not forced, not performed. Felt deeply, completely, unforgettably, because the men she forgets are the ones who talked the most. And the man she never stops thinking about. He was the one who said the least, but made her feel everything. There are men who struggle for years trying to impress, chasing attention, overthinking every message. And then there are men who make one small shift and suddenly everything changes. Take the first example, a guy who was always too available. He replied instantly, always agreed, always tried to please. Women liked him but never desired him. Then he changed one thing. He stopped chasing and started valuing his own time. What happened next? The same women who barely noticed him started texting first. Second example, another man used to talk a lot, trying to prove how interesting he was. Conversations felt forced. Then he learned to slow down, speak less, and hold eye contact with confidence. What happened? Women started leaning in, asking more questions, trying to keep him engaged. Third example, a man who feared rejection. He played safe, never showed intent. Then he became direct, calm, but clear about what he wanted. Result? Some women walked away, but the ones who stayed were far more attracted and invested. The pattern is always the same. It's not about tricks. It's about energy shift from seeking validation to having standards. When men stop over-explaining, stop chasing approval, start being comfortable with silence, and show clear intent, women don't just like them, they start feeling something. Closing CTA, the one moment you must not miss. This is when she's ready to understand everything.